Good morning.
Hey, it's
We're-
Breakfast with B.
It is Breakfast with B. Is that going to be the new show?
Yeah.
But hey, Justin, it's been a pleasure hosting you for the last couple of days in Southern
Dude,
California.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is not just YouTube speak or whatever.
Mhm.
This has been
Mhm.
a B in B. Wait,
Mhm.
Airbnb, a B in B and
A
B.
B&B? Yeah.
A B and B.
No, I get
This
a lot.
is B and B.
Yeah.
Breakfast with B.
Yeah, I made breakfast for Justin. I
Thank
was
you.
like, hey, I'm gonna wake him up and surprise him with some eggs. Classic.
Yeah.
He's been talking about eggs all weekend. I think you're obsessed with eggs. And philosophically, it's like, why do eggs are eggs breakfast food?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about that because the very first day. So I came in, right?
Mhm.
And then the next morning we went to San Diego.
Mhm. Yeah.
And on the way, we were like, let's go, let's rush. So I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
let's get breakfast.
Yeah.
And we had eggs and it was amazing.
Yeah. It was a nice little quaint spot in Old Town Torrance. And for me, like the biggest takeaway I took from my time with you was like learning how to be chill. Maybe that's just a page out of your book. How to relax a little bit, little take things as they go versus like I learned a lot about myself actually in these last few days of like not only my want and desire to be very efficient in planning. Hi, Mrs. Kongzaras, who'll be joining us soon. But how cranky and and angry I get.
Cranky and angry.
I feel like I get upset when little things happen. Like I'll give a couple of examples yesterday. Like we'd be having a really good time and we're standing in line, but then somebody will cut us in line. And for like 30 seconds or a minute.
You're right. You were mad. I was trying to figure out why you were so mad all of a sudden. Yeah, you just had this look. I'm like, did I do something wrong?
No, the old family, while we were walking into Star Tours, opened up the rope while we were walking and got right in front of us, and there was nobody behind us. They couldn't walk around the U, and so
they could have just said, "Oh, go ahead."
Yeah,
and they still would have saved the loop, but they cut right in front of us.
And so I get this antsy feeling of like anytime something ruins my schedule or my plan, I get really upset. In those moments, I realize I learned that like I know that I'm like that all the time, but like that family that cut us, I intentionally like was standing like right in front of them.
I noticed that
and was like
trying to make a scene.
I was almost, and in my head I always debate like, do I say something?
Right?
Do I not something? Do I say something about like how this is not line etiquette?
Right.
Oh, talk about line etiquette in the elementary school drop off, right? Hi, Mrs. Kongzaras.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. So we're doing an old school breakfast thing, and
This is lovely.
I'm just doing a revelation of like, so in the time that you've known me, do I get angry at the littlest things with like line cutters and like things
I think
don't
you
go
get
away?
angry at inefficiency.
Okay, maybe that's the overall thing because I had a plan.
Yeah, the line cutters stink, but I cannot say that we have not partaken it.
Yes, this is true. I think it's all karma because in the end of the day, like when that was happening, we kind of jumped into the web slingers line, and then we're like, all right.
Did we?
We did. Remember, at the end of the night, we just.
I didn't know that was cutting.
It was, and it just was so. I mean, that line cutting was very efficient because
you were right
basically
there.
we were right there, so it was very innocuous. You weren't walking up this awkward, like, excuse me, my wife's right there kind of thing. So
yeah, as long as you're not inconveniencing other people, there's a way to do it if you're gonna line cut.
We line cut, but you were efficient on it. So
was it? Okay. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. I figured it'd be fun to have Justin on. This is our final day hanging out in person, and we don't get these opportunities too often. So it'd be fun to just kind of hang out and chat. No agenda besides recapping the last couple of days. I think it'd be fun to hear your thoughts about Comic-Con.
I have an idea.
Yes.
What if we start with the scandal that's going on right now? It's what's on my head.
Okay.
And we can circle back to
absolutely.
So the scams, right? I think it's hilarious. So first of all, for people that are out there that don't know, there was this Walmart heavily discounted, and what I think is fun is that there's a debate of whether it's a scam or not.
Yeah.
And those in the chat, let us know your feelings. Hit a 1 if you think it's a scam, hit 0 if you think it's not. As an observer of this scandal, I just find it interesting. I don't care whether it's a scam or not.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing I've been trying to show B. Like, to take an approach of like you're just observing chaos, right? And just enjoy, sit back and eat some popcorn.
You know what website I really want to check out?
What's that?
Where's deals at Console Kid?
Oh, no.
Is that still working or no?
I haven't updated it in a while.
Yeah. What is this? Home arcade deals. All right.
It's old.
What does the website say? You used to really, when this type of event would happen in the community, you would be documenting it. But now you kind of, I know you said you've taken a little bit of a short break, but now that like this is the type of stuff that you would normally be talking about. So what would this site normally do? Would it show something like this?
It wouldn't show anything like this because it was kind of a quick thing. You know, it's like the deal came and then the deal was gone.
Right?
So there was a very quick
Okay. All right. Well, this used to be the place to head out. But okay, so back to Walmart.com. Yesterday, about 12 hours ago, boom.
Yeah. So we were at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're hanging out, having some fun.
Speaking about having some fun, can I offer you some fun?
Oh my goodness. Oh, it's early.
Coffee and beer?
Coffee, beer, or ginger
sounds
beer?
good. I mean, I got a flight later, so why not?
Yeah. All right.
Do you want root or ginger beer?
It's okay. No, I'll do the Blue Moon.
All right, cheers.
Coffee. Cheers. My goodness. Cheers to everybody.
Folks.
Cheers. Scoot in a little bit too. Grant. A little. All right.
So we're at Disneyland having a great time. And we get a message from Fox. And Fox is like, you got to get in on these deals. And that was a moment where we split up, right? So I was with Caroline and your kids.
Yeah.
And she's like, what are you doing on your phone, Justin? I was like, but there's these deals. There's these deals. It's like $200. And she goes, let me help you.
Comsworth does not care. Just get off the phone.
She just turned my phone off.
Oh, really? Okay. So she's like, I want you to be in the moment and not caught up with what's happening in the space. But these are killer deals. So ever since then, this is live right now. But all the prices have shot back up to kind of somewhat normal prices. But like, for example, I saw even this morning, this Simpsons cabinet was $120. And so I think
is it from, for those that don't know,
now
like, a lot of people probably know, right? But there's a difference between Walmart and then the third party sellers. Yeah. But this cabinet now is being sold by Deep Discount, which I think is a rarefied place. But what's the name of the group? It was Signify Sales. Yeah, that's right.
Signify? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it goes, the address on it goes to Shady Lane.
It's something in Florida, but it was a Quality Inn and a Popeyes was the location of the home base of this store that started up like 2 days ago. And so I think, to your point, it's really interesting seeing the community debate about this. So talk about, like, I guess as an observer, what have you witnessed from the community? I'm going to pull up some of the Facebook posts because I read it and it's hilarious.
There's two main opinions. One that maybe a couple, basically is it a scam or is it not a scam? And then within those opinions, maybe it's a scam, but we're going to be protected by Walmart. So who cares? Then there's the other side of, don't use the excuse of Walmart. You're an idiot for participating in this scam. Even if you're being protected by Walmart, I'm smarter than you. Basically, Rob Cassell is just like all over the Facebook groups flaunting how intelligent he is. And he's so much smarter than everybody else.
About saying that.
I love it. I love it looking at it. I love watching posts. The people don't even know how cringy they are. That's it. Like 100% cringe. I'm not going to call Rob out. You know why? Because then he might stop being cringy. And then your entertainment is gone. No, it's kind of like when you're watching a TV show. You don't want the major plot.
You don't want the thing to stop.
To be like spoiled, right?
So here's an example of the original Arcade1Up fan page where I think, and it's all in fan pages too, like, there's so many of them. But here's the thing about, Sunny was saying, the one thing I realized about Walmart scam is how much excitement is generated from the community, right? Is this the $50 sales? Tons of posts of what's going on, right? This is a decision that Arcade could make, right? If they sell a lot more cabinets, so there's 33 comments and 9 likes on a discussion. Discussion is what I've seen, like 33 comments off of these things is generating.
Blow up.
Yeah, and here's another person with screenshots from Walmart customer service saying, like, is this a third-party scam? No, Arcade1Up, like, sorry to inconvenience you. Like, if you don't get your order, you will be protected. So these people that have taken the extra step to contact Walmart are feeling better that Walmart customer service is saying they'll take care of you.
Right. And then there's another part where people are saying, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You just gave your information to the third-party seller.
That's true.
And your identity is stolen now.
Yeah. And these people are like, 19-inch golden tee for $200. So let's talk, like, what were some of the best deals that you saw?
Okay, so I think golden tee for $200.
Golden tee XL.
Yeah, I took my chances.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you? You sent your information to Signify Sales.
That's right.
All right, he took a chance. He took a chance.
Because I was like, okay, for me, that I bought mine for full price.
This is hilarious.
Oh my gosh,
somebody got their
quality.
Yeah, exactly. It's non-refundable. This
was the best.
Yes, the community really did well with some of these posts to troll the rest of the community members. But I mean, Walmart cab just came in. Definitely wasn't a scam, right? Oh, this person, Michael Brown, was like, all right, so let's talk about Signify Sales. This group registered 2 days ago, the day before the sale.
Yeah.
Okay. As a business.
I mean, maybe they just bought a whole bunch of cabs from liquidation and just formed the business.
Yeah,
right?
But their state is Arizona, but weren't they based in Florida? There's so many red flags. Those people are finally, and so there's people that are putting facts. We got a lot of like Sherlock Holmes folks in here. But yeah, I think it's been fun.
So what other good deals? It was
$120 for Shinku Big Blue. Yes. That's the one that got me FOMO'd when you were telling me that. And I was like, what? I missed it. I didn't. No, it was too late. By the time
everyone's already collected their credit card information.
No, by the time
but see, you gave your money to Walmart though, right? So I mean, the transaction went through Walmart. You got an email from Walmart. It's not like they processed Walmart, handed your credit card number. That's on their file to the third party, right?
Were you able to call out a couple of super chats that we saw?
All right, let's do that really fast. Let's do that. And let us know in the chat if you participated in this. I'm curious to hear from the chat. Biggie D says PayPal already refunded him.
There you go.
All right, so there it is. All right, Kevin Freer, thanks for the $4.99 super chat, says, you guys into comic books too? If so, what are you reading or there for arcade stuff? You're talking about Comic-Con in general. I have been going to Comic-Con with my wife since 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
And the main reason I used to go was the toys. I was a toy guy. I feel like that still is one of my main passions that I don't talk enough about on this channel, but I used to go for the exclusives, and Comic-Con was known to be one of the best places to get the exclusive version of this Transformer or this Joe, but mostly Transformers was my main jam. But you used to go, I mean, you're a comic book fan, right?
Yeah, I did. I love to go just to leaf through the comic books. I like to look for the omnibus copies, like the
omnibus,
yes. Because back in Westwood, there used to be the Jay and Silent Bob's. Yeah, so we used to go hang out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it brings back memories, and I miss the days when you used to roll in and literally buy a day pass.
Yeah,
that day,
same
just
day.
buy one pass. Check it out. I think we actually did Masquerade Ball one year.
Oh yeah, with a bunch of people and just watch the cosplayers.
That's not a thing anymore, right?
It is.
Is it really?
I mean, my cosplay was a little bit down, I would say, in terms of the number of people doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, granted the fact that like there's also the SAG strike right now, so that could have been the reason for it too. But yeah, it's a different vibe after 2010.
Yeah. Let's finish up the super chat and topic because I don't want to go back to Arcade1Up. But just really quickly, do you read comics? Are you reading anything?
I wasn't reading anything because
you were there for the arcade stuff.
No. Oh wait, what?
No,
I'm kidding.
You were there for pinball.
I'm not into comic books because everyone that's in my family that's into comic books still live with their mother in their basement. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's just not the life that I wanted. He just
called you somebody that's living in your basement, Kevin. I mean, you gotta
look. If you figured out a way to have,
you live in your basement currently, but not with your mom.
I live upstairs with my wife,
but you're
nice house. I put my fun stuff in the basement. I don't live with my mother.
Got it. Okay.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's just not the life I wanted to choose. You know, I went a different path.
All right, and here's this other $4.99 super chat that says, from Console Fanboy, I think the scam was interesting because everyone was in love with 1UP again, wanting every cab. That there was a positive sentiment that came from the deal.
That's pretty interesting. Evidently, there's a price where everyone will shill for
yeah. I hate the cabinets, but if it's $200, like we can be be buddy
Family
again, right?
again.
We're family if you give me a good deal. That's so true. That's interesting.
Maybe that's what's going on with the home arcade community. There's not enough $50 discounts at Walmart that made everyone super happy.
All right. So Mike says he's on the hook for 2 cabs. He bought $200 for the NBA Shack Jam and the Golden Tee XL. Walmart investigations told me he'll be able to get a refund. I hope so too. All right. What else do we got here? Biggie D canceled his Shinku. Thanks to Cornicade.
Sure.
Yes, Arcade1Up cabs are also toys. Yes, there is a sentiment for that too. I would say these are large toys, but they weren't as small as my other collectibles. I would say they're larger toys. They're like furniture, if you will. I kind of like put it in that space.
Excuses.
Yes, excuses. I will not be getting the Grimlock. That was a really cool self-transforming Grimlock.
Oh yeah.
It is just the cost of 5 of these 1-up deals. No, even more than that. It's $1,500 for a self-transforming Grimlock. It's double the price of the Prime. It was
and they gave it excuses. Well, this one has 80 servos in it, and the other one only had like
you're gonna take it apart and count.
Yeah. I asked him the direct question. I was like, why is this double the cost? And then he was like, 60 parts to 85. I was like, that's not double.
Yeah, actually, it's not double.
It's not double.
Yeah.
I was like, it should be like a 35% increase.
And then I just wanted him to say, because we knew you would pay for it.
Because we knew you'd pay it. You'd buy it. Yeah. All right, we're gonna jump back into comics kind of sequentially, but anything else on the Arcade1Up deals? Do you feel like where are you at right now? Are you gonna cancel your order?
I mean,
or are you gonna let it ride?
I'm gonna let it ride.
You're gonna let it ride.
I do believe that it doesn't really matter.
You're in the camp that like you feel protected by both your credit card company,
worst case
Walmart.
scenario. I mean, I dealt with Walmart before. You can go to Walmart chat online. You're logged in. And you're like, hey, I never got this product, or the product I got was, I mean, the Walmart that's in my area is a very nice Walmart, and they offer, it's like a super center with groceries. It's the most convenient. We order our groceries from that local Walmart. Okay. We have their Walmart Plus. If there's my wife is called Walmart with, I mean, we're talking about like we receive grocery orders, and all of a sudden they'll just give us not our order, and they're just like, keep it. And we'll fix it.
I see.
So or
they'll try to make it right.
Yeah, there was times where like we never received our order. It was like the person that was delivering it actually didn't deliver it, but they registered that they did deliver it. And Walmart's just like, full refund, redo your order. They always take care of us, so I'm not worried about that.
I'm gonna say, not always. I actually had a recent story about Walmart.com.
Really?
I didn't share this. In the middle of the night, about 2-3 weeks ago, my Walmart.com account was hacked.
Oh.
And a bunch of orders were placed. And what they did was...
Did the guy live in Florida?
Maybe, right? I didn't buy any Arcade1Ups, I promise. This was like a couple weeks ago, and I don't know. It just happened randomly. But we sneakily would do was do one order of candy for pickup at my local Walmart to look like a legit item.
Yeah.
And then ship another item to a different location.
Interesting.
But there was 10 of them, but all the locations were different locations. I couldn't tell like where the drop stuff was. And so I caught it pretty early the next morning before stuff had finally.
You get notifications
because it happened at like at 2-3 a.m. my time. So in the middle of the night.
Oh wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're not paying attention the next morning, or like however long it takes, orders can get processed. It could be shipped, and then you're kind of screwed. But I woke up super early that morning.
Good.
Yeah, at 6 a.m. I was playing basketball, and I was like, oh crap, what are all these orders? And so I finally logged into my account, started randomly, or I started to cancel them manually before I contacted customer service, because I wanted to get in front of it.
Right.
But then I found out your Walmart.com account has been closed.
Whoa. They went in and ordered stuff and then closed it?
So they were chatting with another rep. And then because once the account is closed, you can no longer access your account to cancel items or do anything. And so if I hadn't have done that, they could have canceled the account and things would have shipped. But luckily I got everything canceled manually. But when I was talking to the people, they're like, if it's like shipped already, you have to go through your credit card company. We can't do anything else anymore.
Oh wow.
So
that could be a hassle, right?
So I don't know. I'm just saying this as like a precaution that Walmart.com, while they can do some things, there are some things where scammers, if they get a hold of your account information, and the weird thing is because I had my account tied to my PayPal, so it was like, I'm not going to do that anymore. But sometimes it's convenient. You're like, oh, my phone recognizes my PayPal account. It's easy to just let it go. But Walmart's was very disappointing for me recently. So I don't have a Walmart account. I couldn't even able to purchase it. Yeah,
there you
that
go.
That is sketch. Yeah. Everyone. Yeah, that's so it was 10 orders. I did get everything refunded. You know, I didn't want to go through PayPal. So just be careful. I mean, scams are out there. You know, there's a lot of creative ways people are trying to get your money.
Always enable multi-factor.
There you go.
Yeah, enable multi-factor. You know, do what you can to protect your stuff. Super sketch.
I'm going to turn my channel into how to enable multi-factor. That's the entire channel.
Multi-factor authentication, MFA. Yeah. I learned a new acronym. I didn't know you'd call it MFA. There it is. All right. Anything else on the Arcade1Up stuff? Are you good? Community, you feel good? Constorm always has the latest and greatest.
That's right. That guy's ear is inside the sand.
Inside the sand. Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
All right. So
head to the ground. Listening close.
When the first day you came in, we'll kind of just go progressively from your time here because I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts about everything else. You didn't have a plan when you came in. Picked you up in the airport. I was like, let's go get some Korean barbecue and pinball. And then the day turned into was supposed to be like, hey, we can just chill and relax. You just had a long 8-hour flight layover into a pinball tour of LA.
That was great.
Yeah, I didn't even you gave me an excuse to go to all these places in one day. So how was that experiencing some of the pinballs you hadn't played before? We went to All You Can Eat Gogi in Van Nuys, Revenge of in Glendale, and we ended the day at 82.
That's right.
Barcade in downtown LA. So give me your impressions of each one. What were some of the highlights that you saw?
Yeah, so it was a really great experience because there's a number of pinball machines that I haven't played that I wanted to play, and I checked off a lot of them on this trip.
Nice.
Just in my local area. We have plenty of pinball arcades, but a lot of them have duplicates.
The same ones.
The same machines.
Good morning, Daddy.
So, it's... I hadn't played the Weird Al.
Oh, yeah. Multimorphic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Multimorphic. Hadn't had the opportunity to do that. The new Godfather machine. The...
James Bond?
Yeah, the James Bond 60th. So there's no... Probably, I'm certain, and this is what I might need to do in Iowa is... there's this guy named Greg who owns 2 or 3 arcades, and he's told me want to come over, have dinner, hang out,
oh yeah,
be friends.
You're gonna be friends with the barcade owner?
Yeah, because he says he owns all limited editions in his house, and he's like, want to come over and play, hang out, whatever. So I might try to get in on that, and he's probably got a 60th anniversary. So that game is fantastic, and I totally get why they charge. It's weird. It's like $18,000 for the machine.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some debates online whether it's worth that much. Maybe it should have been 12, but it is a really, really nice machine.
Yeah.
It feels luxury when you're playing it, and maybe that's my perspective because I haven't had the opportunity to play it. Anyway, so that first, what's it called? Skogie?
Yeah, Ace Gogi.
Ace Gogi.
Korean barbecue.
So the food was great. I love Korean barbecue. B was doing his efficiency thing where I was trying to help him cook, but evidently I wasn't fast enough.
You don't mess with the man in his grill if he's in the zone. So here's the thing about Korean barbecue. I didn't want to say anything while you guys started, but when we start Korean barbecue, you normally start with the dry meats first.
Yes.
So you does your grill stays clean. But both you and my son put on the Calbee and the wet
help.
I know, but it ruined the side of the grill. It's now it's a wet, dirty grill. All right, that's okay. Keep going. I'm sorry. I'm anal like that. I just realized how bad I am. I think it's your influence.
So it's good. We got to play Scooby-Doo a lot, and I don't like that game.
Yeah.
Hello, Philly Chick.
Hey, Philly Chick. Hey, Jen.
That's the weird one. I had seen the gameplay
Scooby-Doo,
and I was like, I don't think this is going to be a really good game. A game like Mandalorian Pro, it kind of feels like, I think the premium's a little bit better, but it's the whole thing where you play the game and you can't see the back third of the gameplay when the ball kind of goes behind there. That always bugs me, and that's fine if there's just a couple bumpers back there and you don't really need to see.
But you kind of feel like there's a lot happening back there, right?
Yeah. So Mandalorian Pro,
it's a mystery.
It's a mystery what's happening in there. But with the
Scooby-Doo,
it's all a mystery what's happening underneath the playfield until you come up on top. And then it's just quirky on top. It's got a left flipper that's like a bookshelf or something.
Bookshelf diverter.
Yeah. And so I would get good shots in and I just didn't care. It was weird. It was it took me a second to figure out the bookshelf, but even when I did, like get some shots in, I was just kind of like over the game.
Yeah.
And then when it came down on the bottom side, you're hitting the flippers there.
Yeah.
And it seems to be all of the spooky machines. The flippers just don't feel strong.
Yeah. It feel like I want it to
weak.
be, like try to get into a shot. And it's like, meh. I agree.
I feel like at a very, very high level, there's like 3 types of pinball machines. And that is, again, very high level. You have your more modern Sterns or even like early 2000 machines. And the flippers feel pretty consistent on all the Stern machines, all the American machines. And you can even feel the difference with the Chicago Gaming Company, like the Revenge from Mars or Attack from Mars and the Medieval Madness, which we played a ton of on this trip as well. They feel like the same machine in the sense of like how control you have on the flippers and the
quality of like,
the quality. Those are all good. And then there's really old machines, right? Like the 80s and 90s machine where the table's real flat, which we got to play.
We did. We saw it played at Indiana Jones that you felt the slower pace.
And Centauri, right?
Yeah, Centaur. Yeah.
Centaur? Yeah. That's right, Centaur. So we played Centaur as well. And those are great games too. And it's like the James Bond game where it's a little more flat and the ball feels a little heavier.
Floaty. It's
Speaking
like floaty.
of flatness, do you see what the pins mostly are? They're cat condos.
Yep.
Sorry, we're all looking away. The cow has decided to sit atop
at my virtual pinball machines downstairs. So
But the spooky is this other thing where it's like, why does your flippers feel weak? I don't get it. Anyway, great time.
I mean, Aquaman, how would you compare 80s, 90s pinballs to these new machines? That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. And so the 80s, 90s pinball machine, they're a little more, the ball is a little slower, right? And that's just the style. And if you can get into it, certain games, we played Total Annihilation, which is the
Nuclear Annihilation,
TNA.
Yeah. Single play field normally. And I would say like the 70s, 80s EM tables were that single play field that have pops and bumps and would be that floaty. There is a generation of 90s pinball machines, like the Williams machines in different versions. We played stuff like Radical and Whitewater and these other games that just have like crazy plastic like ramps that just get it was a way to get really creative with the play field with some of those games that I never played, right?
Yeah, Radical is great because it's a skateboarding game. But there's like a couple shots you can make where the ball, the way it moves, it's like feels like a skateboard.
Yeah.
So those are fun games. So 80s kind of more flat.
And then there's like those 90s. There's a lot of those games that like have those ramp like shots. Like and I think about even some of the things you can play on virtual pinball machine. Like I explored a lot of those games that I missed out. Dr. Dudes, which I'm gonna call it, Red and Ted's Roadshow. Those are some of my favorite like 90s pinball games. Indiana Jones Pinball Adventure has like some really cool wireform ramps and down. And then there's the modern Sterns, which obviously started kind of getting more technical. 69 screens only started coming out around 2015-16. I don't know. I forget which the first game is that became from the traditional 4-1 DMD to a 69. I want to say it was like Batman 66. But let me know in the chat if you guys know
an early one. Yeah,
which one is the first modern Stern that transitioned to using a 69 D&D, because that's the standard moving forward. Oh, and speaking of Stern, I became a little bit of a fanboy, and
let's talk about that story.
Yeah.
So we were real chill when we went to San Diego.
We were
rolling in, rolling out.
We were, we went to Thursday without a plan.
I can tell you the origin real quick of how I turned into that. So I had this job where I traveled a lot, and so I did a lot of preparation of going here, going there. I was like, how I'm going to travel on the plane, checking the bag, and there was this period of time where I was traveling like maybe once every quarter. And then the company changed the way we did our business. And we compressed all of the travel for the entire year into this 6 weeks period of time where every week we're traveling like crazy. And then it was done for the entire year. So about the third trip of just like going, I wonder if Fox does this. That dude travels all the time.
He does travel a lot for work.
Everyone I was working with just stopped checking bags. And it was just like pack efficiently, backpack. That's it. And so I like count the minimal amount of clothes that I can pack, put it in a backpack, laptop. That's it.
Yeah.
And ever since then, the moment I went on those trips, I felt like I shed luggage, if you will.
Literally.
Was shedded.
Yeah.
And there was this sense of relief of like just simplifying the trip.
Mm-hmm.
I'm complicating it right now because I got some, I don't have enough room now in my backpack
no!
to take
home with
everything
you?
home. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah.
But that's the first time I ran into that. So when we went to San Diego, kind of the spirit of that, or as we were making our way, was coming, and that conflicts with
trying to permeate that ideal and mantra.
Yeah, but
to my
B's more like I need
planning.
a spreadsheet and I need to plan everything
I need
out.
to plan it. Yeah.
So we went to San Diego with no plan.
Yeah.
Because B is inclusive, I guess, like a moldable ability. He has the ability to conform to someone else's wishes, I guess, just naturally. But evidently, he said he had a good time.
Oh yeah, I did have a good time.
This is very terrifying to hear from you because you are the kind of person who has a checklist of stuff and you need to hit up this checklist not once, multiple times.
Oh, and be efficient while doing the checklist.
And be efficient while doing
checklist. Just like little things, and like my biggest pet peeve is wasting time because I feel like my time is valuable. So when it doesn't work in a certain way, it's like hitting every red stoplight. Like I get angry when this just like the world sends red stoplights in your way, but I get really happy when it's green stoplights and we just happen to like easily cruise into a place and
but
like
you know the rationale for that, right? You gotta
karma.
Have,
like,
karma. Yeah, you know you're gonna have good stuff. No,
okay.
you're gonna have bad stuff. You can't like you'll have a ton of good stuff, but no, the next day you'll probably have a couple of bad stuff you gotta work through.
So here's the karma that happened on Thursday. I already started getting miffed at Justin for stopping us for breakfast on Thursday. But if we had taken a minute later, a minute sooner, when we got to Comic-Con and started to explore, we ended up at the Stern Pinball booth.
Right.
And because we ended
up
met
there, all like, let's see, Gary Stern, Seth Davis, the new president CEO, Brian Eddy, the creator of
Venom, Medieval Madness, Attack from Mars,
and then Jack Danger, who did Foo Fighters and who's a Twitch streamer and works for the company.
And we met the John D of Stern Pinball.
We met this guy Jody, who gave us their roadmap. For the next year, like what they're gonna come. It's weird. Like I want to make a video and it's like, here's what's coming out, guys. Like we don't know specific titles. He did drop a few names though. In the list of
right, let's talk about that specifically in its own segment. But just to kind of recap that mantra to me, because of Justin's go with the flow attitude and because of my whatever, I just felt that like fortunate opportunity to experience Comic-Con in a new way I hadn't. I've gone with you for the last 10 years or so, and everything's about an exclusive. We got to wait in a line to get into a line, to get into another line, which I was explaining on one of my previous live streams, right? But this was like, I didn't have to wait in a line. We strolled in at, I think, 11 o'clock in the morning and just walked straight into the exhibit hall, which was like unheard of for me to not have to wait at 6 a.m. to be able to get the exclusive. It feels so great just strolling in. I felt like really relief, baggage lift off. I don't need to get something.
Right.
But this experience, so like, this was you go to those conventions sometimes to meet somebody. So a lot of celebrities, artists, people that you want to be able to kind of connect with. And our latest fandom recently has been pinball. And so we met Gary Stern once at CES already. I took a picture with him. But I was like, I'm just going to use this fanboy moment you bought me a shirt. Thank you so much for this shirt. This stream is now sponsored by Console Kits. But I had a Sharpie with me. I took advantage of it, had him sign it. He was appreciative of it. And the cool thing about that convention is that it's not a pinball convention because most people there aren't there for pinball. So the people that are fans can walk up and have the time and conversation and the space to connect with you. And it's not like a crowd of people wanting to connect with us. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. So. And we heard that, not to get too deep into the Jody conversation, but he had said like, they're starting to switch their philosophy at Stern to start to do their announcements at places that are not pinball conventions.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so he was like, we're going to go and there's, basically what it sounded like is they have a couple more conventions in the next couple of years, and that's where they're going to actually line up their releases at these events. And if you're a pinball fan like we are, and we went there, we got to hang out with them because it's not a pinball festival, right?
It's almost like when CES, there was like a good number of pinball machines. So we had good conversations with the Stern folks there.
That's right.
And there wasn't a ton of like true, like dedicated pinball folks. So I'm kind of liking going to these other conventions now. We've done 2 this year already, CES and Comic-Con, where Stern was present. I think that one they were featuring James Bond because it just released, right? And then this time it was
Venom.
Yeah, Venom.
And we got to play a ton of Venom.
We did.
We played it for 2 days.
Yeah.
And that would kind of be like, we're going to end the day at the, what is it? The
Stern pop-up.
The Stern pop-up.
Yeah.
And there was enough people there that there was every single pin that was there had people
somebody
at
playing it. Yeah.
But you only had to wait like maybe 5 or 10 minutes to get in.
Yeah.
And then B had this great thing when someone would just walk up behind us, kind of forming a line. There was never more than one person behind us that wanted to get in. He would just turn to them, and when we finished the game, and be like, "Want to be our third?"
Yeah. So we could
and then we were still player 1 and 2. So we were playing.
You know, but we had to teach people,
and they would leave after one game.
Yeah.
Oh no!
And then they're like,
okay.
No, I think they just wanted to taste.
To try it out.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people that don't know you can play multiple people. Like you got rejected from wanting to play a pinball machine. You tried to jump in and be a third for somebody. And
that's right.
No,
they said no.
You got rejected from the Jurassic Park. You tried to be a third wheel, and you know,
they
pinball
were
etiquette.
Kids. They saw me as an old guy.
They're like, you cannot be our
creepy.
third. A couple of questions here in the chat here. So first off, we already did this. Octoman Games says, how much would I expect to spend on a pinbot? Have you played pinbot before? It's very classic.
I don't think I've played pinbot.
No.
Well, $2 is how much we could expect to spend, right? Thank you so much, Octoman.
I see that if you guys are into pinball, or maybe you're new to pinball. I mean, I'm new to pinball, but
Pinside.
What's cool is there's Pinside, but then there's Facebook groups where people are talking about pinball, and there's a couple of those groups where people show off their game room. I mean, it's kind of like the home arcade community where you'll see random posts where someone are like, I just got my new machine, and then they show their lineup of machines. And Pinbot is one that I see next to some big classic titles.
And here's the information on Pinbot on Pinside. And so when I discovered Pinside, it's a great community source. It'll tell you this game was built in 1986 and 87, sold 12,000 units, and right now estimated value is 2,600 to 3,100.
Yeah, that's not bad.
There you go.
So yeah, if in that range, right? So 2,600 if it's, maybe needs a little bit of work, and 3,100 if it's in pretty decent condition. That means this would be an inexpensive machine, because all pinball machines that are in decent shape typically go at minimum for that 2,000 or 3,000. And
this is, I feel like it's a popular title like that kind of people would recognize, and so might go a little bit higher. So I don't know how accurate these estimated values are. But
right. I think there's if you on that website you can click on the price, and it shows you like where the prices are coming from.
Really?
Oh, and it's from the market. And so
you can't click on this. I don't see anything here.
There it is.
Oh, price estimate.
So you can kind of see this history.
Look at that.
Oh, wow,
I'm not even sharing the screen. So
we're all just like talking to each other.
All right, so this is the price estimate section on Pinside for a thing. This game has been listed 304 times on Marketplace, 39 times. A median asking price was 2,900.
Right. So
that's
if you
really cool.
Hit the view archived ads. It's just
here.
Yeah. So this is going to take you to a search, and these are the sales of that machine. So
it is real time data of like 624.
I want to know who developed this. This is pretty rad.
Yeah. So Pin Inside's driven. Yeah. Really great. Yeah.
Inside.
Because they have their own marketplace.
We could have Rancho Cucamonga. We could have gotten a pinbot for $2,000 in June.
So imagine like eBay and price. There's this other one that for retro video games. What's it called? It's like pricecharting.com.
Yeah.
Pricecharting.com will tell you like this is how much an NES game is going for. But Pin Inside is like, or Pinside. I don't know why I always say Pin Inside, but Pinside. It's like they have the marketplace. So
inside something.
Okay.
Anyway. I went there.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So we're talking about more of our experience at Comic-Con, the pop-up stuff. So let's get into what we can and can't say. I mean, technically, we can say whatever we want about the conversation with.
This is the tough thing, right? So
nobody really watches us about pinball anyway. So
Jody, I guess I say this because there's many times I see in the comments where people will say that you got special treatment because you're a YouTuber.
But he didn't know us.
He didn't know us, and we never said we were YouTubers till like the very end, he gave us our business card and we're like, oh, maybe we'll have you on the show. Or he's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
The best part about that conversation was we had about a 5-10 minute conversation with him about all things pinball. He had no idea who we were. And at the end, he was like, oh yeah, I'm Jody. Who are you guys? And then we had fake passes. And he's like, oh, like, hey, Bill and Ted. And we were like, Bill and Ted. Like to him. Like,
it was not our name. But he looked at our badge and said our fake names.
Our fake names.
It was pretty funny. It was like, and we just smiled and grinned.
But the fact of that, like, I think we demonstrated that we are pinball fans. We gave credibility because we had mentioned we just gotten Foo Fighters and Godzilla, so he knew we were invested at buying home pins. So it gave him like, oh, these guys are legit. They just bought real pins.
So we want to say what he told us.
I think so. I mean, I don't know how secretive it is. I'm sure there's going to be a Pinside post later on about.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. All right.
So he said they have a plan of re-releasing older pins that had the 4x1 screen previously, but now they'll be re-released with the 16x9 screen with whole new gameplay.
Yeah.
But the machine itself, the game is basically the same game. It might have slightly different parts on the inside, obviously, because 10 years has passed since they manufactured it. It was funny. His name is Joe D. And he acted exactly like
John D. Yeah.
And seriously. So he did the thing. And then we talked to John D. and they know each other.
Yeah.
They're like
the licensing guys all know each other. Yeah.
So
they swapped tricks and tips.
Yeah.
He did the thing where he didn't tell you what they're doing. He asked rhetorical questions that tell you. So he said, you know, what type of games would you remake?
Yeah.
Just imagine the 4x1 screen that were really popular 10 years ago. Wouldn't you want to bring those back to a 16x9? I don't know. Games like Metallica, AC/DC.
Are you saying that Stern is going to be releasing legacy versions and deluxe vault editions of their
rehash?
Are they going to rehash pinball machines?
That's what he said. And the conversation was cool because he was talking about. I asked him a question. It felt like an interview.
Yeah,
but none of it was recorded.
Yeah. It was all just behind the scenes. Yeah,
it was. What's the partner that you work with, an IP owner that's like the easiest to work with?
Yeah.
And his first answer was Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
They were just great to work with.
Yeah.
But also Toho, who made
Godzilla.
And he said, Toho reached out to them and said, is there any way you can do a second Godzilla?
This is so great. They made us a ton of money and visibility. It probably put Godzilla back on the map for that company.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I guess Stern was telling them, we don't know how we could do another Godzilla. How can you top Godzilla?
The number one pinball machine, number one consensus, right? Yeah.
And so I said to him, well, you just come out with an anniversary version. Yeah. It's the same game, reskinned. And he goes, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And he goes, not only that, we're going to take some of our older games that people really, really want.
Yeah.
And bring them out again.
Yeah, it's exciting to hear that, and maybe this is it's all speculation talk from the licensing standpoint. They kind of make the it possible, but then in terms of what it takes to get it done and actually become reality is a whole bigger thing. But from him, he's kind of like opened the door and talks about like, here's what we could do. And John D talks about this all the time. He's like, I want to do this and this and this and this. Like he has the vision because he secured the licensing portion to do XYZ. But then it takes a while for that to actually happen. So everything we're saying is like, I think it's ideas that have been probably, somewhat thought about, maybe a little bit baked. But there were some things that he was mentioning that, for Stern pinball fans or just pinball fans in general, it's booming in popularity. Just even you can tell just by sale prices and some of the demand that's been coming out. There's more and more people that are at least rediscovering it and enjoying the hobby more than ever. I think it's a plain fact. I don't know.
Do you remember the question you asked him? You said, how many machines have you been a part of?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember the answer?
37.
But he also said at the end of the year, it'll be 39.
Exactly. Oh, so he was already like, hey, exactly. It's like by the end of this year, there will be 2 more Stern releases. And so without any other dates and things like that.
And we know that those will come out at well, it sounded like he said I can't remember what show it was.
Yeah.
He's like, we're going to one more show.
Yeah.
And then CES.
Yeah. CES, Comic-Con were like the big ones are going to be. There's going to be something else that he was going to do. And there was going to be, I forget the name of the convention that he was talking about.
And then the rumors on Pinside is that the next one is Jaws by Keith
Elwin.
Okay.
And
then I think
talk about Jaws.
with what Jody was saying,
Mm-hmm.
there'll be another release at CES. You know, these tentpole milestone
Mm-hmm.
locations that are not pinball festivals. That's where they're going to do their releases.
Mm-hmm.
And that's January.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but maybe in his head, the marketing's going to start in December, right? Because they usually start teasing.
Yeah. So James Bond came out in December,
right?
And then for public, CES was the next first thing. I think like he said, this was one of their first times that they launched a title at a major convention.
Yeah.
But I mean, Foo Fighters was announced, and then it was at Texas Pinball Festival recently, right after. That was like the major game. But TPF is also a place where they now, like all the other pinball creators, were putting out new stuff. Yeah. So that one is like, that's a dedicated pinball convention that you saw Galactic Tank Force, Godfather. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of pinball news. Yeah. It's like the CES of pinball is TPF, it looks like.
Right.
So this is interesting. I wanted to call this one out too. Yep. So Biggie D said, the problem with doing heavily focused Stern pinball is that there isn't a large audience for those products and they aren't relatable for home arcades at that price. Even large Stern content creators views low, which is really interesting because y'all can have pinballs at home. But when I'm thinking about how they're showing up in places, so let's segue back to yesterday's visit to one of the happiest place on earth.
Yeah.
It was amazing to see a pinball there, a very unique and hard to find pinball. But then also our local breweries are starting to have pinballs too. So I don't think it's about having it at home, but rather in communal like gathering spaces too.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are Biggie D's focusing too much on growing a YouTube channel. I'm
just trying to get people out there. Go.
Yeah. No, I mean, like he's basically saying, why are you guys into Stern? You're not going to get a lot of views with that content. Yeah. As if our hobby is driven by our success on YouTube or not success. So Biggie D, you're a big D right now.
I read that completely differently. I was hoping
the problem,
yeah,
or challenge or difficulty with doing what is doing means heavy focus Stern pinball. Okay, so our activity of focusing on that topic isn't a large audience. So that's a problem. Are you aware that there's a problem with what you're doing? Because there's not a large audience for the Stern products.
I believe
they aren't relatable to the home arcade at that price. You're making content that's outside of the price of the average home arcade user.
Of our larger audience.
Even large Stern content creators.
That's true.
Get low views because your focus should be about views. So stop making Stern content and make content that the audience wants.
Biggie D is all about, like, if we want to become Stern pinball channels, we need to become Twitch streamers. That's where all the Stern pinball content creators are.
But shouldn't it be enjoy the hobby and then document the joy that you have?
Yeah. In general, like as a content creator, I still view YouTube as a big show and tell of kind of the stuff I'm into. And if I can bring people along for the ride. And that's why I enjoy going to events and people ask us all the time, like we did a live stream and they're like, why don't you just pre-record it and like share the high quality video? Your potato video looks like a potato. It's lagging.
See, my cock hurts read it the same way I read it. I enjoy all the Stern talks.
Well, I mean, it's relatable because we're all in the pinball space.
But playing them in arcades and bars, go out, be in the community.
Yeah, that's what your point was.
Yes.
We got off at a tangent. No, it kind of makes sense.
This.
You guys are
Ralphie says hi.
Hi, Ralphie.
Are we the face of the home arcade? Face? I thought there was a mayor for that.
No, Biggie D's the face of home arcade. By the way, if you guys don't know, I was told by another content creator that I need to leave this space.
Did you?
So I did.
You did.
I left this space for a month.
We're bringing him
back.
Biggie
D, I gave you plenty of opportunity to grow
and
become the face of home arcade, which other people said.
Yeah.
I soaked up all the views in the room. So there you go. Where are the views go to? Where have they gone?
Yeah.
Have they gone to you? Have they gone to Fox? Have they gone to Biggie D? Did they disperse?
The world. Yeah.
Was it 10% at a time?
Yeah.
Or
we all took bidding
auction
for the liquidation that was
I feel as though
channel.
I left and my views went away.
Yeah.
And then everyone else stayed the same, which just goes to show that you can make content or not make content, and my content, making it or not, doesn't really affect anybody.
This is fact.
I think it was go look at the data.
Yeah.
The data doesn't lie.
Yeah, this is true. But
just do you, man.
Yeah, and we enjoy bringing experiences to the community. That's what I get one of my joys for. And to your point, like the pinball in general has become more enjoyable because, and I think I told this to you, like I can enjoy, get a quick fix and play it versus the nostalgia of an arcade game in the home arcade space. I spoke to one of my friends that I saw at Comic-Con. He has 100 arcade machines in his warehouse.
100
in his warehouse.
Yeah, he owns 20 full-size Star Wars cabinets, Trons, and he showed me pictures like, look at this Tron that I completely restored, original lights, looks gorgeous. Like I'm like, oh, that looks beautiful. Like, are you playing it? He's like, no, I never
he doesn't even play it.
Never
right?
play it. But like for him, it's a collector mentality, and like part of the home arcade space and the nostalgia factor is collecting it. Pinball is something that you don't collect to collect. You get in there and you play it, enjoy it. And I've started to say, because I'm also into fighting game content, a fighting game, no two matches are ever the same. From beginning to end, there's always something that changes in that match that makes it exciting to go back and play against somebody. Pinball is the same way.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I think I'm digesting this. So what you're saying is your friend, for example, who owns 100 full-size arcades, never plays any of them.
Yeah.
They're in a warehouse, but he loves it.
He's a collector. He's a collector more than he's an arcade player.
Well, we know folks who are like that with toys in general. They buy the toy, they look at it in the box, and they put it in the warehouse.
Oh yeah, right. Yes, there are collectors that just have warehouses.
So the moral of that, what you can take away from that is one person, maybe like myself, enjoys a hobby and doesn't necessarily document it on YouTube, but that's okay.
Yeah,
because that's what I enjoy. Just like your friend enjoys. Buying them and putting in the warehouse.
Yeah.
And Biggie D, he may just like to make content for views. And that's the only reason why he makes content is because he wants the views.
Some people collect that. People collect the subs.
He collects the subs and views.
And
that's okay.
Yeah. We don't knock anybody for liking what they like.
You do you. Exactly. And if that's what you enjoy, but also maybe he shouldn't comment that we should, dude, you need to start buying full-size arcades and putting them in a warehouse. You should put them in a warehouse your friend.
Okay. So influencing
be like
others to do what you think they should be doing is like let people be them.
That's right.
Be you. Be you. I like that. I like that. Justin, you keep drinking. I think you're fun. I think you're fun in the morning. Cheers.
She just gave me the dirtiest look. She's like, this is our street.
But Jeff is fun. Like drink and play pinball at home. Like pinball is also very more social. It's at breweries. It's fun to play, and we were teaching people how social the game is.
So
at Comic-Con.
That's right.
For KC, because I showed it earlier. Interesting that pinball is getting
social,
traction for social places when it's explicitly one player at a time. It is one player at a time, unless you try to be third wheel.
Okay.
Or you're drinking, but it is social, and here's why. Even though it's a one-player game, you can play up to 4 players on a pinball machine. I never knew this growing up. All pinball machines from the 70s, 80s to 90s, all pinball machines were designed to be social. You can play up to 4 players on one machine. And like I think it's not well put out there that it is a multiplayer game.
Yeah, so this is what you got to do. So bring your friends, especially those that are new to pinball, that are not very good, because that helps the social lubricant. And the reason why is I've done this. You go out and you play with your friends. I'm not that great. They're not good. Great. The turns will move very quickly.
Yeah.
I think who was it? Keith Elwin was talking about how he had to design the 60th anniversary James Bond.
Oh, yes. And why did he?
To be a difficult game. So him and his friends could take turns quickly.
Exactly.
Because when he and his friends, which are all top pinball players, they play the average game, that person will sit there in front of the machine for like 20 minutes on a single
one ball. Yeah.
And then the other friends go to the other room.
Yeah.
So, but for all of us novice, right? Like we can take turns quickly and make sure you have a place to put your beer and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, the social part of it. Are you still on social lubricant? Is that like...
You just said balls and go to the other room.
Yes, there's lots of shiny balls that you got to wax and make sure the playfield is clean so that you can get it into the target and make sure it gets in there because you're trying to shoot the target. Especially so more balls will come out. Yes, exactly. But and so it's very different playing by yourself. But the social aspect of taking turns and watching them and seeing where you're shooting is very it's fun because you're learning. So I think there is a social component that I've appreciated more. And some people that we were hanging out yesterday finally appreciated kind of some of the ways that we're playing the game. So it's kind of cool to share it with somebody new. I was talking to little kids that were playing for the first time. They're like, I didn't know. So it's pretty.
Yeah,
fun.
it was cool. Kids would come up and we would ask them because they were usually on the Venom. It's like these kids were real big fans of Venom.
Yeah,
and so they would be right behind us. Their parent would be right behind them, and when it was their turn, we needed to log out.
Yeah,
we wanted to log out of the insider, right? So there was this moment where we're like, just a second, and then so either B or myself would say to the kid, "Do you play pinball a lot?" And sometimes they say yes, and sometimes they'd say no. Do you remember? There was one kid that said no, so we said, just aim for the flashing light. And the kid was like, really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Simple.
But remember when we were playing at the pop-up?
Yeah.
There's this little girl that came up. Her head could barely go above the pinball table. And we asked her, do you play pinball a lot? She goes, all the time. We're like, really?
Oh, you
really?
Well, look at our daughter.
Yeah. So she comes up there, just starts nailing every shot. She's even double flipping it.
Their hand-eye coordination is just like...
Just bam, bam, bam.
She barely
it's all
sees
about
the
the geometry and the angle, you know? Just like some people just have the gift of being able to get it into those lanes.
Yeah, it was cute.
Yeah. All right. So the rest of Comic-Con, we were there for 2 days. I feel like these days I could only handle Comic-Con for 2 days, but overall impressions, besides the Stern stuff, we saw a lot of things. We did see Arcade1Up at the convention too. So, we want to talk a little bit about that. Like, what was your impression about the overall convention? And then we'll segue into talking about Arcade1Up.
Overall convention, this is my first time at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
But, it was basically like any other convention that I ever go to, except for there was no weird people at Comic-Con.
Are you sure about that?
Now, actually, I'm being serious.
Okay.
Like, I kind of expected from watching documentaries about places like Comic-Con, I expected it to be a little bit more like the movie Trekkies, where they go to, sci-fi conventions and just like everyone's dressed up. Not everyone was dressed up, but what was really enjoyable was seeing someone who didn't look like they were dressed up. They didn't look dressed up, but then they had a scar on their face, or like a broken arm, like their arm was in a sling. And I'm like, why do they look so familiar? And they're some random character in some movie.
Yeah.
Not necessarily even a comic book movie necessarily, right? Yeah. And I thought that was really fun. So it was kind of like this. Is that a celebrity I know? Like, why does that look so familiar? So there's a lot of that. And then other than that, it was just a whole bunch of, what do you call it? Like, it was a venue that had a whole bunch of
booths, vendors that were showing off the latest. We saw lots of cool figurines and things of like products that might be coming out pretty soon.
Here's the thing. When we used to go to Comic-Con, we only went to Exhibition Hall. Yes. I think most folks don't realize that Comic-Con is broken into so many compartments, right?
Panels,
so,
video games,
artist galleries that some folks will stop by because it's in the Exhibition Hall. So what part of it were you most looking forward to when you went to Comic-Con?
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to expect.
He didn't have a plan.
You didn't have a
plan.
Okay, never mind. Sorry, wrong question.
He had no goals.
I knew that B, and this is maybe a downside for me, but B does like over plan things typically. Okay. So I just figured go with the flow and I'm gonna enjoy it, right? Yeah. And it was like that at Disneyland, which was thank you so much for showing me Disneyland. We went to like 14 unique rides.
15. Did we really?
15?
Yeah,
big rides. And that was B turning on his planning mode.
Yeah.
And he had his app and he's like lightning mode. We're gonna get into this and that.
Ooh, I can't wait to talk about that. So but
So I kind of assumed that's what Comic-Con would be.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I wasn't disappointed with the outcome.
Yeah, and I wasn't either because like eventually we have some folks that I've built relationships over the years. So I took Justin along with me to like meet some people that like I met my friend Henry, who's our artist alley, and he gave us a great story about like how he kind of grew up and was like, oh, there's all this attention being paid to the higher paid artist like Jim Lee, who's an a-hole. I didn't say that.
That was great.
Yeah, but he's like not struggling, but like, he's doing more work and things. So that was fun.
I got to see Crystal for the second time.
Yeah, you met my friend Crystal.
We met up with them and I was like, I know these people.
Yeah, we saw them at CES.
Yeah, we saw them at CES.
Yeah.
Okay. When did you meet Crystal?
Yeah, and then you saw my other friend George, who you also met at CES too. Right. So, but like a lot of friends that kind of joined there. Yeah, and then I saw Lori at Konami again, and then Patty and Jason with our Fat Rabbit Farm friends too. So I go to these booths and like every year, Comic-Con always feels the same because they're in the same spots, which is interesting. Like they keep coming back year to year. There were some like noticeable missing big vendors. I think Sideshow Collectibles is that does really nice statues and does hot toys.
Have like a giant booth
that
you can like walk around.
They're a little bit missing this year. The Hasbro like toy shop is also visibly missing. They don't sell stuff there anymore. They just display the products.
Steal stuff.
Not steal stuff, but it was very like used to buy big things from that place. But Funko area, we didn't even go into Funko Town. Funko was very, very crowded.
It's in a corner.
I didn't try to get into Tokidoki, but yeah, I just explored. But overall, was it more crowded than you thought? Was it just right? Like, were you able to like elbow your way through?
Thursday was not as crowded.
Well,
Friday.
Thursday, yeah.
Friday was a little heavier, but it calmed down later in the day. I think early on there was like
it was hard to navigate. Yeah. And then it's funny because anytime we get lost, because it's hard when you're traveling with somebody, it's like, hey, where you at? Stern booth. And then like 2 hours later, it's like we got separated. It's like, where you at? Stern booth.
There was a great moment.
It's like our home.
There was a great moment when I you were in line for something, and so it made sense for me to break off. So I ended up found myself. I was touring a lot of things. Found myself with Stern booth. There wasn't a big line, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna play Venom Pro. Yeah, I really want to play Venom Pro more because we were talking about how the premium was better, but I really wanted to give it a better chance. Yeah. So I get in line. I finally get up to the pinball machine, and I'm playing. I'm sitting there playing, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, there's this person next to me, and I can see, and they're shaking their head, and their head is just white hair. And I'm like, freaking Brian Eddy is standing right next to me right now while I'm playing this game.
He's judging you. Nervous. He's judging you while you're playing his game.
Let me slap it a bit.
So I kind of look over the corner of my eye, and I'm like, yeah, it's him. Yeah. It's him. And then I say out loud, it's kind of nerve-wracking playing your game right here.
And then he like laughed.
Yeah, and what I didn't know was the whole thing was being filmed.
There's a camera.
There's a camera right there,
so
and
you
they were
could
doing
be
a promo
in the promo.
shot.
So now,
did
Justin
you sign a photo?
No, he's officially joined and become a Stern
now
show.
He is a Stern show, y'all.
I that would be really cool.
You're gonna show up in a Stern promo video of like Brian Eddy watching, but he was very likable. He did maintenance on his own game.
That's right.
Like while he was there, very approachable. They were really, really cool. Okay, so let's talk about us getting to the Arcade1Up booth section. We actually did spend some time talking to, there was a couple reps that were there, John D, Rob, and Junior, but they had two sections that they were promoting, which were two big licenses they have, Star Wars and Marvel. So when we think about like why Arcade1Up is at these conventions in the first place, and like the simple thing is that they were at two of the most walkthrough booths in the entire convention. Everybody has to check out what's at Star Wars. Everybody has to check out what's at Marvel. And they were there. So, I mean, like the simple question people always ask was like, why are they doing these collaborations? It's a simple answer, right?
Yeah, that's a couple of things. One of them was they have to nurture their relationship with their partners. Yeah. So part of this is, think of it more like Lucasfilm reaching out to Arcade1Up saying, hey, we're going to be at Comic-Con again. Do you want to be a part of it? Yeah. We still have a lot of those pinball machines. Those will look good in our booth. We have some room for you. Will you support us? Yeah. And how are they going to answer that? They're going to say, no, sorry. The community really wants us to focus on new titles, so we're not going to nurture that relationship with you. Yeah. No, of course. They'll be like, we'll send some of our reps down. We'll bring some machines. We'll do a discount of $6.99. It's $50 off our retail price. We'll get to announce to people that they're going to be available at Costco. And I tell you, this is the crazy thing. We're sitting there, and almost everyone who walked up had no clue about Arcade1Up.
Exactly. Yeah.
They had no clue. And there was every now and then, there was this lady that walked in, and she was like, "Oh my god! Yeah. They're only $700."
Yeah, she was like, "What? This is gonna be in my house like soon." They were genuinely excited about the product at that price point.
Anything about
it. Yeah, so, I can own a pinball machine for $700.
Right, and that's what they said. They said the reason why they go there is because the people that are walking by have no clue about their brand, and there's going to be high traffic, and they're able to bring someone in and get new customers.
So this isn't a show for them to release a new product, even though it could be, if you do the Stern model, it is a way to, if they had more of the, like, it's not a dedicated Arcade1Up space though. They're partnered with whatever the brand of that booth is, right? Yeah. So if they had, I don't know if they would do their own Arcade1Up, maybe they could bring more of their stuff. Yeah. You think that would be something that they could do?
Think about the other one, Kit.
Yeah.
It was extremely obvious to us when we were there. And if you guys would have saw that as well, why they partnered with Kit. Yeah. It's incredibly obvious. Yeah. Where's the Marvel booth? and where's the Kith booth?
Yeah.
Right next to each other.
Marvel,
and then Arcade1Up was
Kith.
in the middle.
Yeah.
That's the entire reason why
there was a line to get into the Kith booth all day to be able to shop for the merchandise there, right? Like the clothing community that likes Kith. There was even a signing for Jim Lee in there, I believe, and they were signing comic books and things. So it's high visibility for all three of their things. Like
for sure, it was totally
tens of thousands of people every day walking up, seeing their product and testing it out for the first time. So I think it's prime real estate. Absolutely makes sense. It's not a product. Again, maybe only 225 people are gonna own the Kith cabinet. And it's, I think
just to serve that market.
Exactly.
It's very clear to me that at some point there was some planning session between Marvel and Arcade1Up. They said, yes, we'll come out to support. And someone looked at the diagram and said, well, Kith will be there right next to it. Then we got Marvel. Hey, we should talk to the Kith people and see if they want to do a partnership just for Comic-Con. We'll only do like 225 units. It'll just kind of bring awareness. All the comic book fans and all the Marvel fans will have to walk in between our booth and learn about these machines. They'll go online. Maybe they probably won't get that unit because it's limited edition. But, you know, maybe they'll learn about us.
So I did find out eventually how they were doing the giveaway of a cabinet, which was through a tournament. So I that was a big topic of my stream a week ago. How are they going to run this? Try to influence and say, what's the best way to do this? I was not impressed. Thursday at 4:00 when the tournament happened, we kind of sat back and just observed a little bit about what was going on right when it started. I kind of wanted to jump in. At one moment, I actually did go in and turn on the machines and go into the game because they didn't set it up right. But then I kind of stepped back. I was like, I'm just going to let them run it. But what you needed to do is you had to have a 4-day badge in order to participate.
This is that inefficiency.
Inefficiency bugged the shit out of me because of that. You had to sign up ahead of time to get asked to play, and they were doing 8 to 16 people. And the winner of that day would come back on Sunday and do a final 4 to win the cabinet. But that, like, and I saw the participants, they were all casuals. It was Children of the Atom. They're all terrible. There was a girl that was like caught up to play, thinking she was playing against somebody, and that person didn't show. And she's just like literally like tapping.
She was moving the joystick on the left side and pressing the buttons on the right.
No idea to play. So I'm gonna win this tournament. Like that was.
But even that was like her friends were taking pictures of her, and she's like modeling.
Yeah. There's not.
It was an Instagram thing.
It was, and so they did a first. They changed the round match to 3 wins. It means that you win the match, and it was a single match you played. So from a fighting game tournament perspective, that's really tough. Even if you have an hour to play, I would have recommended at least a minimum 1st to 2 wins. Like, and that means 2 matches. You win 4 rounds in order to win.
2 total.
Yeah. Matches? So normally a 2 rounds is equal to 1 match, right? Like first round, second round, it's Street Fighter 2, that concept. But he changed the settings to 3 rounds equals 1 win, and you get 1 match to play against somebody. That was the way they set up. And I was like, that's a horrible system. It's a bad experience for the player. It goes by too fast. There was no commentary in organizing it. They were using a challenge website, the Kith people. Yeah. And then I just kind of walked away. I couldn't handle the inefficiencies that was going on. Like I just had to step away. So I was not impressed. I don't know what they're gonna do for the final day. Are they all gonna come back? Like
today's the final day. We'll all find out.
I'm curious if they're gonna announce who won.
So you're saying Arcade1Up did yet another rigged contest?
They're just gonna give it to the cosplayer that we saw, and best cosplayer is gonna win it. Like,
you think so?
I don't know. What if the 4 people don't show up? How are they gonna give it away?
Right.
Winner of Thursday and Friday, like, have to come back. There's the high possibility today at 4:00, which is the last hour of the convention. After 4 days, you're tired of shit. Majority of people that go all 4 days usually don't stay till the end of the convention.
Like, easier for us. We don't have to ship a cabinet.
And then the Marvel Kith people will be able to take it home. And then, like, you know, that'll be the next scandal. That'll just give it to the best cosplayer, the person that does rock, paper, scissors. There's going to be no transparency on who wins it, right? It's just going to be like, oh, the person who won it. I just think it could have been much, much better. I'm disappointed. Ashley wins the cosplay. Yeah, she's gonna cosplay, get dressed up, and win a Kith cabinet. So.
Oh wait, I got Love Vessel's comment. So y'all can read it.
Pinball is all about smacking balls across the wax playfield and putting the balls into bonus holes for points. And wax playfields are nice.
Have you waxed your pinball yet?
Oh, I wax my playfield all the time.
All the time. Yeah. All the time. He likes to take the top off. He likes to spend time rubbing it in.
What I don't like about when I wax my pinball machine is after you start playing it, there's these little, I don't know, it's
The
flaky.
trail?
It's flaky.
Oh.
It's really
Yeah,
weird.
it's like dandruff.
So I have to,
it's
I have
like
to
pinball
pull the glass
dandruff.
off and I have to wipe it
Down again.
I'm being serious. There's
I know
no
he's being
innuendos.
serious. I'm sitting there
There's
going,
no innuendos.
serious.
I have to wipe
Yeah.
it down again, and
Yeah.
then they're flakes, and
Yeah.
I gotta wipe it down again.
I don't think there
Some
was a
white
price
flakes?
point that they set for the Kit Cab, right? Did they?
Wasn't it like $1,000?
It's coming out tomorrow. If you want to put I could order it. It's on the Kith website.
oh,
but-
not Walmart.
No. Yeah, Signify Sales is going to be promoting and sponsoring the Kith Marvel collab. But yeah,
Sounds
I
about right.
don't know what the price point's going to be.
I thought I saw someone try to check out.
Oh,
Arcade1Up.
Constorm, Head in the Sand knows it's $9.25.
Head in
So thank you, Constorm Entertainment.
1001.
1001. Okay, so we did some interviews. We did a live interview with Rob while we were there. 'Cause I love the live atmosphere. I feel like we're bringing the community in, even though the quality was crappy. But can we expect some content from you soon?
All right, I'm gonna tell us straight
Yeah.
up. So
All
I
right.
did 3 recorded videos, 2 with John D
Hmm.
and 1 with Rob.
Yeah.
The plan is to release those soon, probably tomorrow,
Mhm.
maybe over the next couple days. But John reached out to me on It says he wants to chat Monday because he's having second thoughts
About the interview topics.
yeah.
That you
so
were
we need
promoting?
we need to tweet at John and be like, let Justin
let
release.
it go.
The reason why I say this is
Okay.
because if John does pull back and say that he doesn't want it to release that video, I'll respect it.
Mhm.
Right? I think you have that policy too, right? You're
Yeah.
like, if someone you make a video about them or whatever, and you're like, hey, they ask you to take it down, you're like, I respect that.
Yeah.
Okay, you want me to take it down? That's fine. I'll do that.
Mhm.
And so basically what I came to John and said, I wanted to do a cringy video with him.
Yeah.
So
Cringy questions only. Put us in the chat.
Only-
What would you have asked John D if you can ask cringy questions only?
cringy questions, right?
Mhm.
So I reached out to a couple friends and said, I'm going to do an interview with John. Every question is cringy.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, the reason why, if you guys don't know, I love The Office
Mhm.
and I love cringy sarcasm. You guys know that. If you know me, like, that's me. I'm saying the mean thing or saying the sarcastic thing because it's funny to me. I think Steve Carell, for example, is a great actor and he's got a good heart. Him personally. But he plays a character
Mhm.
Steve Carell plays in The Office where he's a cringy boss.
Yeah.
He himself is a good person, right?
Yeah.
It's same with Bob Saget. Bob Saget was a great person,
Mhm.
but he was a comedian that made cringy jokes.
Yeah.
But all of his friends, when he died, came forward and said it was crazy, the Bob Saget story.
Yeah.
When Bob Saget died,
Mhm.
a ton of people messaged the internet, Twitter, whatever, and said, I was his best friend.
Yeah.
He was my best friend. He called me daily.
Yeah.
Except for like 100 actors
Did that? So
And
he
they were
was,
all like,
social?
Wait, he was freaking best friends with like everybody.
Yeah.
And they were like,
was
he's
very
an
social.
amazing person.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I would love friends
Are you
to
saying
say
you're the
he's
Bob
a-
Saget of the home market
He's
community?
a sweetheart, but
Yeah.
he's kind of sarcastic in
Yeah.
his anyway.
Yeah.
So it's all jokes mainly, but
Yeah.
it was to get John to cringe.
Yeah.
With the questions.
Yeah.
And then we did a cringy one with Rob.
Yeah.
But the funniest, I think we're gonna release the Rob one.
Oh yeah, that one was good.
The Rob one was good.
Mhm.
Rob didn't know. That was the cool thing.
Mhm.
So Rob did not know that I was going to ask him hard, cringy questions.
Mhm.
And the goal was to see how he would react to
Mhm.
kind of this softball question
Mhm.
and then a controversial community question
Mhm.
that would make Rob see if he could
Spin it.
handle the
Yeah.
spin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that one will be released. And then there is one interview with John that's just straight.
Don't get him fired. Yeah. So so and the reason why we did that, because we also heard the feedback. Speaking of community feedback, day one, we went live a couple times, one on my channel, one on yours. We also joined Mike for a stream that we just saw the poor quality. And somebody said, can you guys just record and then do a video later for high quality?
And there was a moment where you were angry.
I was.
Inefficiency. Live is the best way.
I don't want to edit my
And
crap.
what did you want to say to those people?
I did. I wanted to say, let's
You try.
Yeah, I
to
did.
come out to
I
Comic-Con.
did.
and bring equipment and go live and try to be entertaining.
You said that in one of your shows.
You said that to me.
I did, but I started typing the comment. I was like, Justin, I really want to respond to this person and be like, great.
Hey, that was a feeling you had. That was an emotion.
I want you, like, you do it better is always my response.
You did a Bill Murray. Yeah. You had a switch at the end. You know, you grow, you learn.
I did.
And you said, let's actually.
That's funny.
Record some stuff.
Yeah, I take the feedback back. Thank you. In the
moment,
you
started posting a ton of videos.
I did. I was posting more stuff afterwards. But okay, so I hope you do release it in its unedited format. I think people would appreciate seeing like not cuts and things like that, and I think you're only gonna maybe adjust audio levels.
Yeah, audio level.
Other than that, like
getting in the end,
yeah,
like go.
Exactly. I think that was it. All the interviews were about 9-10 minutes long. I think they were great to hear. Yeah. I think some questions that people would have wanted to ask any rep from Arcade1Up specifically about even recent community controversies were asked. You know, you may not even was like the exact answer.
The moment we ended, I thought of like five more. Like I could have asked about Blitz. I could have been like, so you screwed the company over with Blitz because they didn't have late hits and it didn't even have online. What do you have to say about that? You know?
So I'll share one thing that happened offline that we should have asked on camera was, what did John think about AtGame's acquisition of Rare Killer Instinct?
Yes, that would have been good.
We didn't ask him on camera, but we asked him offline. And so I think the funny thing is, because I don't think a lot of people were thinking about what was the impact to 1UP losing a license to AtGames. Maybe there was some conversation about what does that mean to him? What was John's thoughts about it? And straight up, he was like, somebody effed up at 1UP and somebody messed up that relationship.
Yeah, I mean, that happens a few times. I think anytime one of the competitors release, I think you said it before, like Dragon's Lair was a scenario where iArcade beat them to it, and they could have kind of got that first. But then the reaction in that was, okay, let's just let iArcade have their moment. And he's explained to us before that when a game is released or when a cabinet is released, you're going to get the highest amount of sales for that beginning of the release. Yeah. And at some point, it's kind of like that with YouTube, right? If you have a mediocre video, and I say mediocre, meaning like your video is not a Mr. Beast video that just like continues to grow. But the average YouTube video by anyone in our space or Mad Little Pixel or RGG85, you're going to get the majority of the views at the beginning, and it'll slowly go down. If it's a really good video, it slowly declines. But eventually it declines, right? Yeah. So that's the majority of the case. It's really hard to make a video that just stays top notch the whole time for years, right? It's like that with sales. And then, so knowing that, you can kind of like let iArcade have its moment. And then at a certain point, Dragon's Lair sales will be so low
you can do
your version, and it's a whole new marketing, and you're going to get sales and not really impact them at all. So everyone gets to kind of share.
Yeah, and so there have been a handful of those shared licensing things, but it was a funny question I thought about later. But yeah, I hope you do release the content. You know, look forward to return of console kits. Did you enjoy kind of starting making content again and like being in that space? Because when I turned the camera on you, you're natural. So
it was fun.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah,
it makes me want to go to more events of these shows and bring gear and just I don't know. I was telling you right afterwards, I was like, man, I got to rethink this, like go to the next trip and just tour booths and bring a microphone. And I always loved Lawn TV, if you ever watched him. But he's a real big YouTuber, but he'll go to these big events and he brings a microphone and he just goes to every booth and like films. It's all pre-recorded and interviews them on the fly. And I've watched his content. He makes content about making content. He'll like tell you how to be like a good YouTuber. And in those videos, he's like, get good at being live. So you don't have to edit. You know, so you can just
less cutting.
Just do it. You know?
I agree.
So that's fun.
All right. So last couple of minutes of the show, I did want to talk about some Disneyland surprises because we did spend some time at the happiest place on earth. You love going. I love
and
being
we went
efficient.
to Disneyland.
And we went to Disneyland.
Yes. Yes. Happiest place on earth. It's Comic-Con, obviously. But you want to talk about that? What's that? What did you get?
I got a virtual medal. So
Yay.
I did another virtual. I'm supposed to run
you
3.
promised to do
I
one
promised
because
to
you haven't done it yet. You already got a medal.
I ran one.
You didn't do it
So
yet.
this is why I opened this one because
Okay.
I ran one of them.
Okay,
and
that's
I
the
was
one you
supposed to
earned.
go run like another one last week. But
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, Oh,
I like that
hello.
box.
Kong Soul Kids.
Kong Soul Kids.
That's
Ooh,
cute.
I love it. All
It's
right.
pretty good.
Was it full? It wasn't that full for a
That was
Saturday.
very confusing for
Yeah.
a Saturday in
July.
summer. Yeah.
So it's been many years since you've been to Disneyland.
2005.
2005. So lots of changes. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge was an immersive experience. A couple things on the California Adventure side. So what were you most looking forward to before going? And then I'm asking you a couple follow-up questions.
Yeah, just mainly doing the Star Wars stuff. You know, big Star Wars fan. And then at work, there's this guy that like just knows the Disneyland park because he lives near and he goes there often. And he was like, you got to go to Galaxy's Edge. You have to do Rise of the Resistance. It's probably the best ride that's at Disneyland. Make sure, and even if you have to pay the Genie Pass and the extra $25 so you can get in, it's worth it. It's worth it. And so we did that. It was amazing. Yeah, it's. Is
that your favorite? Top ride?
I had no spoilers on that ride. I had no clue what I was getting into.
You haven't seen any of the videos for it.
No, you want it to be.
The only thing I had seen was actually Smuggler's Run.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you've seen videos.
Like I thought that was Rise of the Resistance.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? Like I thought it was that was gonna be the big ride I would go on.
Millennium Falcon.
Like you're in the Millennium Falcon. I'm like, that sounds great.
That you can control and do like actually affects like what you're viewing on screen. Okay, so continue.
But yeah, the Rise of Resistance was just amazing. And then I thought, and Zohar thought this as well, that Star Tours was gone. And I had forgotten that Star Tours came back, and we went on that twice. And that was also great. I you know, at least they had the older robot, like as you were in line.
They have a lot of nostalgia things in Disneyland for sure.
But it just makes so much sense. I wonder, like, it made me think, like, okay, I think Paul Herman did the voice originally. So did they go, we don't want to pay him anymore, but Anthony Daniels is
he's
like way cheaper.
He's still the DJ in the cantina.
Yeah, he's still the DJ in the cantina.
Yeah.
So we didn't go to I want to say Ogden, but it's not Ogden.
Yeah, I forget what the cantina is
Olga's Cantina. Oh, yeah. So he's the DJ there, and he still has he's saying stuff. So they probably had Paul Herman come back and record a couple of clips.
It's like the same pilot there, like made his way over there. So
yeah.
But it was great. That ride was awesome, and we went on it twice, and that's what you guys were teaching us. That a lot of these newer rides, also the Avengers ride was like this, where
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right? Yeah, I was thinking Avengers area, right? Guardians of the Galaxy, where I remember that of House of Terror, and so I recognized the building, but I could see it was all Guardians of the Galaxy themed now.
They like rebooted.
Yeah. And then those rides have high replay value.
Yeah.
Because
replay value. You can go back and experience it. I don't know if Rise of the Resistance is different at all. Like I think that one's more prescriptive. You wouldn't need it because it's like
so great.
Yeah, I think the only thing that varies is the fact that spoiler y'all. Once you get onto the actual ride queue, you meet with the cast members.
Yeah.
And depending on that experience, if the cast members feel like they want to be in character versus not feel like want to be in character.
That's true. Your experience engaging with them people.
So I mean, when I tell folks like immersive rides, they're like, 4D glasses. Like, no.
And that's there's these big scenes where you walk in and you're like,
the Stormtrooper one. They're all like,
that's always
they're all
you're
real
in the
models,
movie.
but the fact that you see them, you're just like, oh my god.
No, some of their heads turn too.
That's only in the second room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like, just the fact, like, they try to capture it. The moment you walk off and into the ride queue, you see the stormtroopers and suddenly a blast of cold air.
Yeah.
And they're trying to elicit this, like, fear moment, right? And then you have this cast member who comes and goes, get out of here. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, everybody out here at Disneyland is so nice. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Right.
But it's part of the whole character, part of the whole experience of it, too. So it's not so much about, like...
You even got rejected by a cast member. You tried to take a picture with somebody.
That's right. We were walking through Boba Fett, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, can I get your picture? And he's like...
And it's Book of Boba Fett. Like, nice Boba Fett.
Yeah.
You got rejected by a cast member because you were trying to interrupt them, but that was funny. Yeah. So your experience at the park can change, but like I do remember even the Imperial officer, right? My daughter was like scared to interact because like he was very like stoic, right? So you do get those experiences.
Yeah.
But Rise of the Resistance, it was probably like my second or third time riding it. Every time I ride it, like I forget like a certain thing. So like when you go a couple of different times. You experience it different ways. My daughter's giving me 5
seconds to be able to.
She's giving me a crazy angry eye right now.
Then you have to let it go.
I love that you tricked her so many times to go on rides. Like, we're gonna go to Matterhorn to scare the Yeti, and then she's like, "There's a drop. There's a Yeti, and there's a drop."
And Soft saying Disney is destroying Star. Are you talking about the movies or the ride experiences? Because you were saying the ride experiences are actually changing.
Yeah,
for you.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so yeah, Disneyland is very
modern Star Wars
sequel trilogy.
Yeah,
you still have Star Tours. Even that, depending on what ride you go on. The very first time we went on Star Tours, it was Darth Vader. Second time I went on, it was Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And so there's different ways you can experience it. I don't know, but I went to. Okay, so here's the example. Like on those rides, it's all the sequel trilogy, but you see the actress, Rey, came in, and Finn and Poe,
nice.
and their acting on the rides are great. Or even when we went over to the slingers, the Spider-Man,
Tom
Holland. Tom Holland is in it, and he's
acting.
like full on in character.
Spider-Man.
And the Spider-Man stuff was like, if you go, the rides that I went on, when I was like 20, and I went on a lot of rides, Universal Studios, they would bring those actors in, and it felt like they got like a cheap director or something, like a B-list.
Especially they're like Terminators
like
one, you're
Doc
like
Brown and like
yeah. Like there was these times I remember watching like CSI, and then one of the members of CSI, the actresses, like was on another show, and it was like a completely different character. It was like the director didn't direct them well enough to be able to bring out the best. But at Disneyland, when you see Rey and Finn and Poe do those scenes, they nailed it. Like they brought you in.
Yeah.
So I was like,
it gave you a different appreciation for them, right? So everybody's talking about the movies are like bad, but that experience, like, funny enough about the Star Wars panel that we saw at Comic-Con, he wanted to witness going to a panel. We went to the eulogy of Star Wars Battle Cruiser, which is Star Cruiser, the Halcyon. But that is supposed to be an experience that brings you into the world of Star Wars, much like at the Disney parks. Like going to Galaxy's Edge, you can be a part of the story. So
did you notice at Galaxy's Edge, did you see any part of Disney property?
While you're inside?
No, you're like fully immersed in it.
Yeah, even when you looked up, it's like you would expect to see planes at least flying by, or like you hear, because we were right next to the parking structure. We could see it when we were parking, but you didn't see any of that.
That's right. They did a great job. Yeah. And I will say that if you haven't experienced Galaxy's Edge, everything that people dislike about the sequel series is not in Galaxy's Edge. Yeah. Like if you're like, I just hate, Rey, I just hate Kylo.
Oh, she walks around.
I just feel like that part of the controversy is not there.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can enjoy it still being a fan. They have some legacy stuff. Obviously, the Millennium Falcon's there. You can walk into the store, buy the lightsabers, and like there's just cool stuff to look at. So from a fan perspective, I think it's still one of those like experiences you have to do. And we got it from my efficiency standpoint. If that was like goal number one to do, we knocked that at the park really quickly.
Ride, right?
Yeah, we got to Smuggler's Run, which is like an almost updated version of Star Tours.
So let me give you the blow by blow with the way Kong's rest is. We roll into the park at 11:30. We have reservation for lunch.
Yeah.
And we're like, let's eat. Can I take the dessert to go?
Yeah.
Okay,
that was the beginning.
Yeah, I know that was the beginning. But
your son was telling me about that. He was like, Dad became dad the moment he wanted the dessert. I was like, can we just, and he said to me, can we just enjoy the moment? That's what I wanted to tell him. And me as the Uncle Justin, I didn't want to reinforce any of that bad behavior. I was just like, okay. Yeah. But I flipped the subject. You're having a great time, right? Yeah. This is a 10. We're like having a great time.
Yeah. So Disneyland. This is amazing. The fact that like we already show up late, because his mentality is we have to show up there right when it opens, do all the things.
You had a one-day pass. You got a
one-day pass, and then on the fact that like I reserved lunch, he's like, we have to sit down. Like we can't just grab it and go.
It was like an expensive.
It was.
By the way, thank you for lunch. This stream is also sponsored by because he got us into the park too. So,
and as well as Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger. Thank you so much for that $4.99 super
we are
chat.
now Kong Soul Kits now.
It's thank you,
Mrs. Kong Soul Kits.
That's
all three of us.
That's awkward.
I
don't need to be the. I don't need to be the third wheel.
All right. Nothing. Don't look into that at all.
But thank you for the hair.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
To be clear, this whole weekend, Mrs. Kong's felt like a sister to me.
Oh,
that's a good thing, like a sister.
Yeah.
The awkward. Drink your water.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were very much. Can we talk about the water bottle?
No.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, so we paid for part of that trip in forcing Justin to drink out of this very large water bottle that may have gotten left.
Yeah, we're trying to find it and lost and found.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
anywho,
But if anybody sees a lime green Hydro Flask anywhere in Disneyland,
slightly dented
because somebody knocked it down. That was really, but that was violent. Like, did he just like right when you handed it out?
She went to hand it to me, right?
And he just slapped it down.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was doing something else.
I don't know.
He was trying to
big
be
gesture.
Like,
oh, I see. Yeah.
Anywho, so you enjoyed Galaxy's Edge immensely. Was there anything else you were looking forward to?
Yeah. Or what did you enjoy? Guardians of the Galaxy. Was that a surprise? The Guardians of the Galaxy ride?
Yes.
Yeah.
That ride was insanely good.
Yeah.
The music, like just the funniness.
Yeah, and then this guy's like, boom.
Yeah, I didn't prep him at all.
Oh, you didn't tell him?
I didn't know. I did. I wanted him to be
do?
genuinely surprised because he remembered it as Tower of Terror, which is a very straight ride. You see the thing, you go up, and then you start your drop down. Right. But this ride, I mean, spoiler alert for folks that haven't gone it. Right, you go as soon as the shadow plugs in the music. It like you start with the jump, and it's just like party. It's a fun time. So I enjoyed watching Justin. See all the things. I was even spending time like documenting a lot of your reactions and stuff, so that you can see it back and like see how it was. So yeah, I think a lot of my enjoyment sometimes is seeing like others enjoy things that I also enjoy.
Right. So I mean, like,
I got to live again vicariously through you of like experiencing that.
I think that's the weird eye-opening thing about Disney, the fact that like we used to go try to get on the rides, right? And after having children, looking at their point of view, especially like their perspective is short and they see all these things. There's a lot of detail. There's a lot of like storytelling moments. Walt Disney is an animator, but first and foremost, he's a storyteller.
Yeah.
So he knows how to captivate you. He knows how to find like that emotion that keeps you going for the entire ride. So I really appreciate that little finite detail. If we hadn't done the rides, and I don't know if I told you, but like before when we had an annual pass, we'd have one goal. Accomplish our goal, do that thing. And I think a lot of it was about the experience.
Yeah. It was great.
Well, hope you had an overall good experience.
It was great.
We got to see some nice lights to end the night. And man, you guys went back into parks. I mean, from like literally.
We went till midnight.
Yeah, they rode around the train as the final thing.
That was a fun moment when Mrs. Kongs and I were on the train with the kids. And you were stuck out and about, and then we see him come in and we wave as we're driving up.
I was like,
we're waving. You missed the train.
I literally missed the train and had to wait another 25 minutes. But it's been
got ice cream. What are you talking about?
I did. I mean, I got to do something while I'm waiting. It's been awesome having you here.
Yeah,
I really do hope that we'll spend time again in Cleveland. We can do more of this, but you're always welcome in our home, Southern California. If you want to visit anything else,
it was a B&B.
A B&B, not an A&B.
Not an Airbnb, a B&B.
Whoa. I'll let you spend time in your B&B.
Yeah, that was a good
time. Thank you for letting me come into your home and spend time with the family, with the children. It was great. We had a lot of fun. I have a daughter. And so I remember when my daughter was around that age, I kind of got into the dad mode or uncle mode, maybe. And got to enjoy the rides through them. Like, even Monsters Inc., which your youngest really wanted to go on. I was because I asked your kids at the beginning, like, what's the number? And that's my thing. It's like, I'm more of the like, I don't think we're going to be able to hit all the rides. So it's like, what's the number one ride that you want to go on? And so I kind of asked everybody, and I think we hit all of them. I think
except for one little country that we weren't able to hit up. Multiple countries.
And there was the Small World After All. We were in line,
but it broke down.
And I was telling your youngest, there's a 99.99 chance we will get on this ride because we're almost there. There's no chance it's gonna break down.
As you're saying
literally as I'm saying that, they're like, the ride broke down.
I think it was the bad karma for me getting mad about the people that just cut us in line.
There we go.
I was already mad about it. So I was like, all right, I'm done. So because of that, we got to get into everything else. But all right, Justin.
Great trip.
Thank you all for joining us on this impromptu Sunday fun day. We had a nice breakfast. We finished our coffee. We had some drinks. And then hope you have some safe travels back home later today.
Yep,
sounds good.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
See you next time. Bye.